this episode, I'm going to show a little more about my camp setup for Wasteland weekend. Now that the camp is all set up, I made some changes to it. I did a few little things here and there. As you can see, here I am setting it up, and I basically want to show off kind of how quick and easy it is to set up. It only takes a few minutes. I haven't timed myself, but I imagine it takes maybe less than 5 minutes to set the entire thing up. I have a couple bars on there that I shortened, and then I have this right here, which is a mat that has a door, a hollow core door with a mat on top. And that right there is my cot, and I talked about that last episode where I feel like I was cheating a little bit having a cot, but it works so much better for what I want to use it for. You know, fast setup, but also super portable and super sturdy, and it's definitely going to be a great addition to my Wasteland camp. Later on in the episode, I'm going to be doing some wasting of an M16 Airsoft gun that I have, and so you can check that out. Here you can see that I'm actually setting my bags next to the cot, so you can see how much room I have on each side for the purpose of storage, as well as having a sleeping area in my camp. And I'll put some links to all of these products in the description for this video, including the cot. And later on, I do a little sleeping in the cot to try it out, and I have a LED plug-in light for a USB and also a USB fan. So let's get into the video. I think everything is not bad. I have storage space on both sides. You know, here's my water. I have a blanket over there. I have my bag over there. I'm sure I'll have a lot more stuff than this at Wasteland, but room for another bag right here. And this cot is super comfortable. It does have some bars here in the side. They're not bad though, because they're kind of covered up by this lip that goes up with the material. And I'm also going to cover this with probably with some blankets or something, mostly to kind of cover up this color, but also you can see I'm already getting it all dirty, just my dirty clothes in here. But Wasteland, right? Some concerns I do have. Let's see. Now, it's not really made for sitting up completely. I've got this PEX pipe here. I might actually replace this before we go with that plastic conduit, because it's much stronger. It'll go a little higher. With the arc of that, since it's so much stronger, the arc will be a lot higher, but I don't care. It should be fine. What I need to watch out for though is this. While I'm sleeping, I'll probably get a pillow and kind of cover all that up. And then this, I've already hit my head once on it. So that was fun. Other than that, here's the other side. I've got this mat right here. Let me show you this real quick. See, it's not too bad getting out of it. This mat was a rubber mat that I had in an old trailer. It was a horse trailer. So this was meant, this is on the side of it. And it looks, it's already weathered. I mean, I didn't, paint that any kind of special effects or anything. That's genuine weathering right there. And I screwed it into this hollow core door right here. So this door is super light, but this rubber mat is kind of heavy. So it makes the whole thing a little bit heavy, but it makes it super solid. And it looks way better than it did with just the hollow core door, because the hollow core door had the inserts, the little rectangle inserts there. This covers all that up, and it's a little more rugged. And there is the cot all folded up. It basically folds straight up like that, and then you put that strap, the strap is attached, and you just wrap it around there, and then you latch it, and there you go. And it's supposed to fit back in this bag. Yeah, I don't know. You know how tents never fit back in their bags? Well, we'll see if we can do it. But for me, this is going to be good enough. Maybe this will be for traveling out there, and then this will be day to day. I'm just going to wrap it up like that, throw it off to the side, and then it should be good enough. All right, so I tried out this plastic conduit, and it is much better. So look at how rigid that is. That is very much better. I wanted to originally use this PEX piping because it was so flexible, and I can get a good angle out of it. But I think I got a good angle out of this. It was actually really tight, which makes that super sturdy. And then this side with the fitting fits right over this bar perfectly, and the other side there's a piece of small rebar that goes between this and this, and it is solid. So I'm going to do that for this one, and I'm going to do it for the other one that sits further out. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to sleep here tonight, but something to kind of give me an idea of how comfortable this cot is and how comfortable, how much room I have to move around and all that stuff. And this is very important for anyone to do. When you set up a camp, if mine is in my vehicle, but if it's not in your vehicle, it's really important to kind of set it up in your yard to see how well it works and actually sleep in it before you get to Wasteland weekend. I imagine there will be some tweaks I'll have to make once I figure it out tonight, but we'll see, and I'll report back in the morning. All right, I did it. I'm here. It's a little dark in here, but it's probably about 8 o'clock in the morning. I woke up at 5:30, and the only reason I really woke up was because of my rooster. He woke me up. Other than that, I probably could have kept sleeping. It was super comfortable in this cot, and I think the only thing too, I kept waking up during the night. I think it was because it was super hot when I went to bed, and I had a blanket on, and I kept waking up. I had the blanket off, and then I kept waking up because I was too cold and blah blah. Anyway, and I'm an old man, so that happens. But I was super impressed with everything here, the way everything works. This battery, it's hooked up to the lights. It's going to change the light here a little bit. You see the dots there show how much battery life is left. And I had the fan running off of this all night. So it used a little more than half just by running that fan all night long. On high, too. I had it on high. Let me show you this fan. See, it's got a couple different settings. I had it all the way on high. And that did, it provided airflow, and it also provided noise, which is funny. I actually laid it up against the side of the truck, and it kind of vibrated, and it made more white noise for me, so I could sleep a little bit better. And right now, I'm actually sitting on the end of the cot. That's something else I wanted to show you guys. There's the end right there, and it's not tipping forward, as you can see. It's not wanting to flip forward like that. It's a really well balanced cot. The only problem I had really was room. I'm kind of a big guy. I'm 6'1", 200 pounds, and I fit in here pretty well, but there was these bars here on the side. That's kind of being nitpicky because that's just the nature of these things, but for the fact that it's foldable and portable and also very well balanced and still comfortable. It goes up there at the end, or toward the head part right there, so that, let me get that around there. And I had my pillow there, but it kind of acts as a pillow too. It goes up like that. Something else I've done today is waste out my M16. This is an airsoft gun. I don't think I got it for very much, maybe 40 bucks. I actually originally got it a couple years ago for another prop costume, and it was nice and clean, and so I've wasted it up a little bit. I put the same kind of canvas with barge cement on here and just kind of random places. You have to think about where it would be if this was the apocalypse and there was an old gun. They would have it on the buttstock and they would have it on the grip, and I just kind of put it here just because I thought it would look cool. But you wouldn't really have it around the vent. This is a vent for the barrel, and it's a heat dissipation, and you wouldn't really cover all that up. So you see people do that. They wrap those. That's not really very practical. I put a little bit right here. I thought that would look cool. It's an old shop rag. And then from there, what I did, I also wrapped the strap here, because you would think, this has to be padded, has to be something that you would have up on your shoulder. And from there, what I did was I sprayed. It's a super simple process. I sprayed clear coat, this right here, some Krylon crystal clear flat. Make sure you get flat. You don't want this thing all shiny. And I sprayed it all over the whole thing, really, really heavy, so that it's pretty much dripping, not like you would paint a car where you do like even strokes. I dunked it on there. And then I got dirt, just plain old dirt from the yard. This is very clay, very clay heavy dirt, which is a benefit of where we live. Our dirt is very clay heavy, and the clay works really well with this. And so what I did is I sprayed that, I dumped that clay dirt on there, and I let it dry for a little bit, not too long, just a couple minutes, and I brushed it off with a broom. I just had a little, that little broom right there, nothing fancy or anything, just to get the big stuff off. And then I sprayed this, some, it's like a, red oxide primer. I sprayed it very lightly, just to kind of get some, I didn't, cover the whole thing, and especially you don't want to get it on the rag, because rags don't rust. Just get it on the metal parts. I got it on here, and then a little bit on the barrel. And what that is, it just kind of gives a base coat. Let me get a little closer in there. It gives a nice base coat for you to work with again, and then you spray the clear on again, and then do another coat of the dirt. And what that did, see, I don't even think that rust oxide red looks very realistic. It looks a little too brown to be rust. I might go back over it. Actually, I will go back over it with a brush and some lighter rust color, and kind of hit some of these bolts and things like that. But I think overall, I really like the way this turned out, because it gives that rusty metal look. It gives dirt, and when you brush the dirt off, it sticks in these places in here. Let me get really close in there. See, it gets in there and it stays. Now that is in there. It's not really coming out unless you really, really scrape at it. And I like the way like this turned out and stuff like that. Made in China, which means it's not a real gun. And you have to think about, when you start rubbing it off, see, what I did was I used these brushes here. They come in a variety. There's this plastic bristle, which is a little bit harder than a toothbrush. This, it's kind of like brass, I guess, bristle, which is like one step higher. And then it comes with a steel bristle, which is for, I use those a lot more for my cars and things like that. But this is perfect for this, because this one is just plastic. And what I did is I went through here and I kind of brushed it out, to get the heavy stuff out. And then I went back over it with this right here. This is a scouring pad. It's like a Scotch Brite. You get these. I order these on Amazon because I use them a lot. When I rebuild engines, I use these for the surfaces for gasket cleaning. But they're really good for kind of a general overall thing. And you can see, I went back over and I rubbed off the high points. You got to think about where you're going to be bumping into this a lot. When you're carrying this around, it's going to be right here. This is the highest point. So I rubbed a lot of that off. I rubbed a lot of this off, because when you carry this thing around, you might be carrying it like this, and especially I went around this and I kind of just went like that all the way around to rub a lot of that off, because you're going to be carrying that, by the strap, by right here. Your trigger, I probably need to clean that out a little bit more, because the trigger you're going to be using a lot. So you just have to think about how you'll be using it, how it will wear, how the parts will wear. And like this button right here on an M16 or an AR-15, this actually works. That's the magazine release. So you'll probably be using the magazine release a lot. This actually has one that works, because it's an airsoft gun. So that I'm going to wear out a little bit more. This is the shell, the case ejection port right here. So that you want to make sure doesn't look too, like this right here, I'll have to clean that out, because this doesn't work. It's not, practical, because it's a airsoft gun. But if it was a real one, that would not be all gunked up in that corner right there. So I'm going to clean that out. And then let's check the other side. Same with this side. This is the safety. This safety actually works. I'm just going to leave it on fire. It's not a huge deal. But that's going to be worn out, you know. If you're going to be using that a lot, you know, you're hanging out with your buds, you go in safety, see a raider or whatever, put it on fire. Same with here. This would be worn out. This right here is where you actually cock it, and it actually works on this. Let me see if I can do it with one hand. Yeah, so that's going to be worn out there because you use that a lot. And same with here, you know, you wear that a lot. You don't hold this a lot though because it's the heat dissipator, but you would probably have your hand on here, on the handle, on the trigger, and on that top handle up there. And see, this is actually a metal screw right here, little nut, and I wore that off because that would be realistic. And like I said, I'll probably come back, touch some of these bolts with some lighter, a little bit lighter rust color. I really like the way that turned out right there. And then there you go. So there is the gun all rusted up and weathered with only a few items here. The scouring pad, the 2 brushes, clear coat, some red oxide primer, and some dirt.